Hi, John. My name is Catherine Volkin. I'll be meeting with you today. I'd like to go over the limits of confidentiality before we get started. Everything we discuss in this session will be kept confidential. There's a few exceptions. If you were to mention that you were thinking about committing suicide, possibly harming someone else, if you mention any kind of abuse of a child, of a vulnerable adult, I would also have to report that. Or in the case of a subpoena, I'd also have to report that. Other than those situations, everything here will be kept confidential.
Okay.
Do you have any questions? Were you able to go over the HIPAA and everything?
I read through all of that, and no, I don't have any questions.
Okay, well then let's get started. I read over your intake, but I'd like to get your own words. What brings you in today?
Well, as you can see, I lost my wife 6 years, just 2 months ago, and I guess returning back to life, normal life, is very difficult. I don't really see what's the point.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I can only imagine how devastating that must have been for you. How old was she?
She was 28, and she died in a car accident. I guess it was late, and the other driver was texting, and then they got into a car crash. I got a phone call from the hospital. I went there, and she had already passed.
Oh, John, that sounds really awful. I'm so sorry. So how have you been doing since then? I can imagine that every day is probably a challenge for you. Could you tell me a little bit more about how you're coping?
I'm not doing so well. I mean, I get up and I go to my job, and the whole time I'm just not really there. I'm going through the motions, and I'm getting my work done. And my coworkers have been great. They've been checking up on me and everything. But it's just been a struggle. I mean, our apartment just feels so empty, and it's tough to sleep at night.
It sounds like you have some support at work, but right now, I mean, you're just struggling to get through the day. Like you said, you're going through the motions. Can you tell me a little bit more about your social support outside of work?
Well, my family and her family have been very supportive, and so we've been able to really draw on each other. But after the initial get together and the funeral and everything, everybody took some time to spend, with me, and I took some time at my in-laws' place. It's like everybody's kind of going back to their normal routine, and I'm just kind of stuck. So I don't really feel like I have a lot of support outside of work. I know that I can call them anytime that I need to, but lately I feel like, what difference is it going to make?
So it sounds like you do have the support on your side and her side, but everybody seems to be in the process of moving on, and for you it kind of seems like it just happened. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, that about sums it up.
It seems difficult to reach out to others when they're in the process of healing, and they may not understand where you are because you're still in the middle of grieving your wife's death.
Yeah. I feel, I don't know, I guess sometimes I feel angry, like, how can you move on? How can it be so easy to just get over it when, this is someone special to talk about?
So you're frustrated that some of your family members are able to start moving past it when their daughter, their sister, their cousin was so close to them and they loved them dearly, but does it seem like they should still be mourning them and in the process of mourning them in a similar way that you are?
Well, I think so. I guess for me it's been a a little tougher. But I mean, I don't expect them to sit at home all day and do nothing. But sometimes I feel like they're intentionally like avoiding the subject when I talk to them, or trying too hard to get me to move on, and I just don't feel like I can.
So it seems like they're kind of trying to force you to get over something that you're not prepared to get over quite yet.
Right. The death of my wife.
Absolutely. Is there anything that kind of alleviates some of this sadness? Is there anything that you find enjoyment in currently?
Well, I guess to help me sleep, I've been drinking, and that helps. And a couple of coworkers will take me out. We'll go out and go for drinks for happy hour for a little bit, and it's nice because it keeps me out of the house, and then it lets me know that they care. So
John, can I ask you, how often are you drinking?
every day,
About how much? How many drinks?
or on average,
Okay, so on average it's about 4. At the most, what would you say it is?
well, I guess on the weekends or on the nights when I don't have to be to work the next morning, it can be somewhere 8 to 12.
Okay. So John, you mentioned that this seems to kind of help and kind of give you some relief. Um, is there at any point does it seem that it's making you feel worse?
The drinking,
Yes.
I guess sometimes, but it makes me feel like I'm weak, like I shouldn't have to resort to drinking. And then it makes me feel kind of ashamed because I never used to be somebody who needed to rely on alcohol to make them feel better. So yeah, sometimes when it gets to me, but it's the only thing that really helps enough.
So right now you're using drinking as a way to cope because it kind of takes your mind off the death of your wife. And you have some shame around that because you feel like you shouldn't have to resort to drinking, that you should be able to manage your feelings on your own. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. So John, you mentioned that you have feelings of anger. Could you tell me what other feelings you're experiencing right now?
Emptiness, I guess, and hopelessness. I kind of wonder what's the point. You know, like we had all of these plans. Um, we wanted to move somewhere nice and get a nice house. We wanted to have kids. There's so many plans to do things that we never got a chance to, and now she'll never get a chance to, and I'll never get a chance to. Um, I've been wondering what the whole point is anymore.
So along with your anger, you're feeling emptiness and loneliness, and that sense of loss that you guys had planned for this life together, and now that that's no longer possible, you're just still considering like, how are you going to move forward?
Yeah.
John, other than work, what do you do outside of work? You mentioned that you go out for drinks with your friends. Is there anything else that you do outside of work?
Not anymore. I mean, I'll just come home. Sometimes I'll, surf the internet, look at my email, see if anybody has tried to contact me, and then, like I said, maybe I'll contact my family or my in-laws, but they're busy with their own lives now. So most of my time is just spent at home.
Okay. So a normal day, you come home from work, check your email, possibly go out with friends, but for the majority, you would stay home alone. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Okay. So right now, I'd like to kind of explore some other realms of your life and what kind of gives you meaning. It seemed like your wife was a big source of meaning for you. Do you find meaning in anything else at this point? You kind of mentioned that specifically, what's the point without my wife anymore? You mentioned that you still are able to hold down your job and go to work, but it seems like you're going through the motions. Is your job something that you find meaning in, or is there anything else that you possibly find meaning in?
Well, I guess I used to find meaning in my job. It gave me a sense of fulfillment because it's hard to have a good job in the market these days. So it just made me thankful for that. But lately, I would say that as far as finding a sense of meaning, I guess I'm just not there yet.
John, let me ask you, what would it have been like if you were to die before your wife? How do you think that would have been for her?
I guess I've never thought of that before. I'd like to think that she would be strong and she'd be able to pick up and move on with her life because she was always so bright and happy. She had a lot of energy and life about her. When we would go out and do things, she was always had a smile and always very active and taking pictures and being the life of the party. And it was great. I think that she would have been able to get over it and make something of her life.
Sounds like your wife was a very strong, optimistic woman who would have been able to power through and use the support system that she had around her to move forward. What do you think that your wife would want for you?
She'd want the same for me. She always wanted the best for me and for us. So yeah, I guess that kind of those thoughts also feed into when I'm getting down on myself about drinking. I imagine her being disappointed in me because I know that she wouldn't want me to just be sulking by myself. It's just kind of difficult after you've been around somebody for so long and then all of a sudden they're not there anymore without warning.
Right? I mean, just the immediacy of how she died, just that car crash. I mean, there being no warning or something like that, a fatal accident, and her being so young. I mean, that seems to add to the difficulty of trying to grieve her loss. You mentioned that you feel like she would be disappointed in you for drinking. Have you ever considered that she would be understanding and compassionate and know that you're struggling and know that this is just a period of difficulty for you right now and that you could and will possibly find your way, but it's just because it's only been 2 months. I mean, it's a lot to expect somebody to have completely moved on with their life after losing their young wife. How long have you guys been?
6 years.
Okay. So after losing his wife of 6 years, I think it would be important to give yourself some room to breathe. Have you ever considered other methods of coping, possibly exercise, meditation, anything like that?
I just don't feel like I have the energy for exercise. But I guess I could see how meditation could help because right now I feel like it's so hard to focus on like miss that on work or on anything. And that's what meditation does, right?
Right. Meditation essentially will ground you in the present moment. So techniques like deep breathing. From this point, I think from here until the next session, I think that that's something that would be very useful for you to practice. Because depression essentially is worry about the past. Considering your wife of 6 years died 2 months ago, I mean, it seems to be that that's where your mind is on a daily basis, is in the past. And with deep breathing, you can kind of ground your body and your breath to be in the present moment. How do you feel about using a technique like that throughout the day?
I think that could be helpful. I've never had any practice in it, so I'd have to figure out how to start. But I think something like that I would enjoy. And like you said, I think that's something that my wife would want from me.
Well, John, I have some literature that I can give you on your way out, so that way we can kind of go over it together first, and that way when you leave, you'll have a good idea of what you're doing and how to implement the deep breathing throughout the day to kind of help you get through the day and give you a little more motivation to keep pushing on, even if it just be for that hour. We have to look at small increments of time because the future seems to be something that's a little difficult to think about without your life. So if we kind of focus on one day at a time, it will that will be our goal, which is moving forward one day at a time and just getting through the day. John, our time's up. I'd like to